Welcome back, Royally Quack fans. We're excited here today. I'm coming to you from the Luke Robitaille Studios in Menifee, California. And we've got Cody. Cody is from the Timu Solani Studios in Temecula, California. And Cody, you've got something special to tell everybody.
Yeah, so we have, in honor of our 25th episode, a special guest, someone who I've mentioned on the podcast many times. And the main reason why my dad has to say Fagimo or Fagimo many times, Adam Broehl.
What's going on, guys? And yes, Gary, we've had dinner with him at the Rain Gala, and it is Fagimo. That's how they announce it at the arena as well.
You know what's funny? But you listen to Jesse Cohen, All the King's Men. You listen to the Kings of the Podcast. They're butchering his name then.
Oh, I believe
it. Because I don't know. I'm hoping he earns a spot.
He was doing pretty well down in Ontario this year, so hopefully he gets called up soon.
43 goals in 50 games.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We need a right-handed shot, so that's going to be something exciting.
I think he needs to pick up his defense a little bit, but he should be up there soon.
Oh yeah. The Kings are they're rolling the dice this year, so but we'll get into that later. I guess we're going to start off with Duck news, right, Cody?
Yeah, we'll start off with Ducks news. And Adam, feel free to chime in because I know you're a fan of both teams.
Well, I'm a fan of one team, but I will support the other one if my team's not here.
There you go.
Let's preface this that he's a quacker like Cody is.
Yeah.
You know. Absolutely, since day one.
Yeah, but he's also a Reign fan. So he's got. You still have Reign season tickets?
I'm a Reign supporter, only because the Ducks are down in San Diego, and that's too far to have season tickets, being 15 minutes away from Ontario.
I told you. That's why Adam has tickets.
Yeah, here's the funny thing: is that we're not out to bash each other. I mean, we do a little bit here and there just because it makes us laugh. But we're hockey fans first. So, anyways, let's go to Duck news, Cody.
All right. First one's a big one, guys. So
don't quack me up, okay?
You quack yourself up all the time. You really spoiled.
I can't help it.
As long as you don't try to act too snobby over there, Royal.
I like this 2 against 1. I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Remember who has the scepter and who can off with their heads.
And remember who has the option to mute you, Dad, too. Yes. The quacky boy over here does. All right. First Duck news. Zegras was almost traded to Montreal. What? So apparently there was a report that came out that at the beginning of the first round of the NHL draft, the Canadiens and Ducks had agreed on the basics of a trade that would have sent Trevor Zegras to the Montreal Canadiens along with a second-round pick, and the Canadiens would have given up the right-handed defenseman Logan Melano? Sure. I butcher that name. I'm turning into my dad so much now. He was drafted in the first round, number 31st overall in the 2021 draft. And they would have gotten their 21st pick in this year's draft. I believe this was a draft to move up to get Stan Solberg. That's what it seems like. But the Canadiens GM, Kent Hughes, refused the deal last minute as he did not want to sacrifice his prospect in the trade. So I was shocked to hear this news, but I could see why Verbeek was trying to move up, but I don't think Zegras was the right piece to do it with. But, what are your thoughts on it, Adam and Dad? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, it's just like all the trade rumors we hear every year. Like, every year we hear Gibson's moving. This could have been another trade rumor where they're like, well, this is the trade that was proposed, but, it just never happened. We've been hearing Zegras trade rumors since, the draft of last year. So it's a fun little...
Ever since Drysdale got traded, that's all we've heard is just trade rumors.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's like how much stock can we actually put into it until something actually concrete goes through?
Well, you
The
have
boy who
those,
cries trade.
you have those certain people, not naming any names, that like to throw out controversy. And
Oh, you mean Frank Saravelli? What? That guy? Was that his
I
name?
want to say like 9 out of 10 times is wrong.
He's not having a good track record lately.
No, but
Yeah, because Gibson was never supposed to play another game with the Ducks. So
What, 3-4 years in a row now?
yeah. All right.
that's true.
Yeah. Next bit of Duck news is Ryan Getzlaf, former Anaheim Ducks captain, has been hired by the NHL's Department of Player Safety. And I believe I saw George Peros tweet saying something like, "Oh, suspend Perry."
It was a meme that went out because
Yeah, it was a meme.
it's a big joke. I love it.
It was a joke. I don't think it was real, but can you imagine if Getzlaf was like, you know what, Perry, you get a 2-game suspension for, that hit.
That would be hilarious.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
hopefully it works out for him.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is yes, I'm a Ducks fan. I love the Ducks, but now that Getzlaf has this job, how much is he going to be working with the actual Anaheim Ducks front office?
I don't think he can.
And then hopefully that means next year we can go back to purple and jade or eggplant and jade.
I don't think they're going to go back to those colors after the rebrand.
Getzlaf was the big proponent of not going back to eggplant and jade, but maybe we can get a third jersey or an alternate out of this now.
The alternate I can I could see. It's more, I know the Samuelis are like very fond of the orange color too.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a Kings fan, I like the eggplant and jade too.
Yeah.
I always thought it was cool looking. So
Yep. All right.
Me and Cody had a very long conversation.
I want to say like 2 or 3 hours worth of just like, no, they should do this. Like, I believe, was it last week or the week before when we were talking about the helmets, and Adam was saying like the matte orange or the chrome dome orange for the Ducks new unis would look really great. I can't remember which one you said. I think you said the chrome, right?
I wanted a chrome, but even a flat matte would have looked nice.
Yeah.
They just they need to break up all that orange for the home uniforms.
I got to see it on the ice first to really judge it.
The Kings went with black matte helmets, and they look really.
That looks.
Really
I do like that.
I mean, the rebrand for both teams is better than what we had.
Honestly,
for that.
The Kings going back to the '90s Gretzky era look is that was my favorite look. So, I mean, it looks good on them. We'll see how it works out for them.
Yeah, maybe they'll get Chevy to sponsor them. I mean, it looks exactly like the Chevy symbol.
The Chevy bow tie, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, and next bit of news is we got new numbers for next season. Brian Dumoulin, I believe he said this on one of the Duckstreams podcasts where he wanted to wear number 8, but he kind of can't wear that in Anaheim for a certain player. But Brian Dumoulin will wear number 6. Robbie Fabry will wear number 13. Harkins will wear number 38. Myers will wear number 39. And Lacombe will change his number from number 60, and now he'll be number 2. So
I'm kind of shocked that they're going to let Fabry have such a low number.
Well, I don't think they don't really care about the low numbers for veteran players.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Are you thinking about Lacombe?
I don't think I'd want to be number 2.
No, the prospect we picked up from the trade at the deadline, at the draft, was that Fabry or was that someone else?
During the draft?
Yeah, to move up. I thought we got a young kid then.
We didn't. We never moved up. We moved back. We moved back both. Oh no, we traded our first round pick and one of our second round picks to move up for Solberg. Then we made a trade with the Kings to move back in the draft.
And they got another later round draft pick.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of something else then.
Yeah. So I do the same thing too. I'm like, wait, what?
It can be confusing if you're trying to track all the teams, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of activity that goes on.
Yep. All right, last bit of Duck news is the rookie face-off schedule. So the first game, the Ducks will be playing against Colorado at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time on the NHL Rink 2. Second game will be, I believe, that same day. It didn't give me dates on here.
No, it's a different day. Nobody plays twice in the same day.
I know. Let me pull it. I can pull it up on Instagram. I know exactly where I found it.
Are all these games going to be at Great Park?
See, it didn't really even say on there either.
They're going to be at the
there we go.
El Segundo.
I know some of them were supposed to be in Great Park too.
Facility is.
Yeah, that's where I play every Saturday night.
Yeah, I do believe that's where they're going to be played.
Okay.
There's
all right,
Ring 1 and Ring 2.
The game against Colorado will be on Friday, September 13th. The second game will be against San Jose, 4:30 start time Pacific time on Rink 1. And then on Monday, September 16th, Anaheim will be playing against LA at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time at Rink number 1. So, and let me get back to my news. Each game of the tournament will be streamed live online for fans in each market, with the Ducks games available at AnaheimDucks.com, featuring Ducks streams, play-by-play broadcast Steve Carroll, and color analyst and content contributor Emerson Edom. So they'll be coming back to at least commentate on the games.
Awesome.
Yep. All right, that's it for Ducks news.
Well, it's about time the Ducks had more news than the Kings.
Right.
You've been really hardly anything.
It's either been like one or none, and that's it.
Okay, well, rookie faceoff. We're on 9/13. That's a Friday. We're playing Vegas. We'll get you all the times, and if you want to stream these games in a later episode when we know for sure where they're going to be streamed from. So then on 9/14, which is Saturday, the Kings will be playing. This is all at the El Segundo Sports Complex, where the Kings and the Reign practice, actually.
Toyota Sports Performance Center.
Is that what it's called? Thank you.
Yep. I know that because, like I said, I play.
Somebody on this podcast that knows what they're talking about.
Well, like I said, it's because I play.
And it's not the two hosts, apparently.
Well, the only reason I know it is because I play there every Saturday night.
Hey, Cody, we're going to have to go watch them.
Yeah, I'm down.
Want to have some fans?
Sure. We could always use some more. We get a couple out every now and then.
So back to the rookie face-off so I can finish that. The 14th on Saturday, we'll be playing the Utah-Arizona, whatever they're called, hockey club.
There you go.
And then on
the Utah Coyotes.
Utah Coyotes.
No. It's the Utah Storm and Mormons. We got to get this right.
Oh, I wish they did that.
I think we got. If that would have been it, we'd have voted for it, right? All of us.
God, we riot.
I would have made fake accounts to vote for it.
On
Same.
9/16. Obviously, at 3:30, we're going to be playing the Quacks. So it'll be Broehl versus Quack. So all of you got to come in and listen on that one. You get to see all the young guys. A lot of the guys that we just drafted will be playing. Guys that are going to be trying to make the club, guys. So that's going to be, it's fun. I try to stream it if I can every year if I'm not stuck at work. Other news, Francisco Pinelli, big opportunity to prove his worth this year. TJ Tynan's in Colorado. He could be the number one center. So this is for the Ontario Reign now. So something for us all to be looking for, because if he starts picking it up, when Kopi goes, maybe Francisco Pinelli can come up and be at least third, fourth line center, and as we move the other guys up when Kopi's done. Patrick Laine, rumors. Been rumors that the Kings are interested. My thought is Dubois all over again. I mean, he's making 8.7. I think this is his last year, though.
No, he has 2 years. He has this year and next year.
Are you positive on that? Because I I heard someone say he had only 1
well,
year left.
You keep talking. I'll go on Puckpedia and look.
I want to say it's 2 years left because if he only had 1 year left, I don't think they would have been worried about trading him.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't want to be there. That's why.
There's a lot of reports about that.
And there's a lot of reports with a lot of teams, not just the Kings.
I've heard it's 2 to 3 teams that are actively talking.
And I, personally, I'm going stay away like it's COVID. I mean,
Line A has this year and next year at 8.7. He's a free agent for the 26-27 season.
I mean, the only way you would make that move is if you didn't have to pay him. So
I hear it's like a locker room thing. Apparently, he's just not happy there.
True. I mean, he scored 40 goals. He had 22 goals in like 55 games that 1 year. But I mean, he was in the league assist program, and he has now been approved to come back and play. I mean, he is talented. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we need another headache. I'd rather see the kids play and lose than to bring somebody else like that to the team. So, because I think letting the kids play, it will help the team grow in the future, which is obviously you guys have already been experiencing that with the Ducks. And I think they've done a great job of trying to rebuild that back up. And I think they might be better than people think this year.
We're hoping.
I wouldn't mind Line A to the Ducks.
I mean, we could use his veteran presence, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, he
and an actual and a shot, someone that can actually shoot the puck.
Yeah, because I mean, you can't really blame the guy. I mean, he's stuck in Columbus. It's not the best hockey market for someone that actually is a good NHL player.
Oh, damn! Is that a shot at Gaudreau?
Of course.
I'm surprised he went there. I am. I wasn't shocked about. I was like, Columbus of all teams.
Well, I think he wants to work with. Was it? Who was the draft pick they just picked up? Was it
Fantilli?
Yeah, Fantilli. That's it.
Yeah, but he went there before he even got drafted.
I still think there was rumors behind the scenes because I mean the Ducks should have picked him up, but he wanted to go home. He wanted to be closer to home because I want to say he's a Michigan boy.
Probably.
So I mean it could have been something like, hey, we're going to bring this kid in over here, so why don't you come help him out, type of thing. But we weren't in the room, so what do we actually know?
Yeah, that's true.
Not enough, that's for sure. Now we're going to go on to league news.
Yeah. All right.
You want to start that, Cody?
Yep. So the Toronto Leafs will have a new captain this season after John Tavares resigns his captaincy. The new captain will be none other than Austin Matthews. He will be the 26th captain in team history.
The guy with a bad mustache.
Oh, it's so terrible.
I mean, I look at it and I go,
if Freddie Mercury played hockey.
Freddie Mercury's was better. Every time I see Matthews, like I want to like lick a napkin and wipe the dirt off his lip.
Mm-hmm.
The movie with Seth MacFarlane in the Old West.
Oh, A Million Ways to Die in the Wild. I love
the How I Met Your Mother. That mustache he had.
Yeah. Neil Patrick Harris. I love that movie.
Yeah, Neil.
Neil Patrick. Yeah. Right. It's such a great movie.
Doogie Howser. Come on, Gary, you'll know that reference.
Yeah, I'm the old guy. I forget things easy.
Yeah.
Other league news is the Tampa Bay Lightning have begun a multi-stage sale process that will value the team at close to $2 billion per Elliot Friedman. It would be the largest sale in the NHL history, surpassing Michael Andlauer's $950 million purchase of the Senators. There will be no immediate change in ownership control and no change in the day-to-day operation of the team. The purchaser is believed to be Doug Ostrover, co-founder and CEO of Blue Owl Capital, a very successful investment firm. As part of the deal, current owner Jeff Vinnick will retain full operational control and the organization for the next several years. He will continue to have significant ownership stakes as part of the new group. And Elliot said on 32 Thoughts that he thought in future years he's going to start backing away. Vinnick. Well,
Yeah.
so I just listened to the last 32 Thoughts just with Elliot. It was just a bit of news.
Yeah, it was just talking about the trades.
Without Jeff on there.
Oh, I miss Jeff. But all right, we're gonna go to the trade because I have a feeling that next bit of news is something we'll probably want to talk about a lot more. So there was a trade between Pittsburgh and Nashville. Pittsburgh traded forward Jordan Frasca to Nashville, and Pittsburgh in return got forward Cody Glass, a 2025 third-round pick, and a 2026 sixth-round pick. I believe it was just some salary cap, pretty much a salary cap trade just to shed some salary for Nashville.
Well, they got a lot of those big contracts coming in there, so they had to clear up some space.
There was one trade I thought about for the Ducks. I thought could be a good trade to help. It would help the Ducks, but also help Nashville. Is the Ducks go and get Dante Fabro, a right-handed shot defenseman? I think he only has 1 year left on a contract. I thought that wouldn't be a bad pickup.
No, it could definitely help.
Mm-hmm. All right, and this is the most exciting news. Dad, you want to go with it?
Oh, the offer sheet?
Yeah, the offers. No, not one.
Two offer sheets. Well,
Two.
the offer sheets, the St. Louis Blues sent 2 offer sheets to Edmonton's Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. Edmonton has 7 days from Tuesday to match. The one thing about Broberg was, from what I read, the offer was about 250% of what was expected to be paid to him, making it almost like impossible for Edmonton to be able to match that.
Yeah, well, from what Elliot said on 32 Thoughts is they were the like if they would have put $1 more on each offer sheet.
Yeah, they would have to go up on their draft picks.
Yeah, it would have been a first-round pick for Broberg and a second-round pick for Holloway.
I mean, but still the money that they offered Broberg was, what was it, $4 million something?
It was like 4.5 something.
And it was supposed to be like somewhere in the $2 million range for him. So
yeah, and Edmonton's at negative 7.2 million right now.
And they're in talks with Leon Draisaitl. I mean, he is signed for this year, so that would be an extension.
All I know is that they're trying their hardest to get either Cody Ceci or Brent Kulak out of there, so they can at least. I think they kind of gave up on Broberg. I think they're going to try and save Holloway because that's the easiest one to save.
It's a cheaper price tag too.
Yeah,
way cheaper price tag.
Yeah,
was he like 1.8?
Yeah, it was 1.8 for 2 years.
Yeah,
or per year.
Yes.
So all right, that's the last bit of league news. So now we're gonna get into Hockey 101 Part 2, penalties.
Well, we have to put a caveat to that because there can't be a penalty without a rule, right? You break a rule, that's a penalty.
Yeah.
And I think we should start off with faceoffs.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, you go with it then.
Okay. So any skater can take part in a faceoff, but in most times that job drops off to the center. A referee or linesman will signal that no more changes can be made to these players on the ice, and the whistle will blow. Centers then have about 5 seconds, by rule, to be at the dot and squared and ready for the puck drop. A linesman has the right to drop the puck if one participant isn't in the faceoff circle after a few seconds. So he could actually drop the puck if the other guy's not ready. Have you seen that? I haven't seen that.
Which one?
Where they'll drop the puck if somebody's not really ready.
Oh, no, yeah.
What I see is they get them ready.
Yeah.
So the other thing that can happen is getting kicked out of the face-off circle. Now, it's kind of like a penalty, but you get one chance. And I think they've just changed it because it used to be where I think on the offensive player, if where was it where one guy gets kicked out and they have to replace him, the other one, but they give him one chance, and the other one they wouldn't let him change, or they would change him right away.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's so many different ways to win a face-off. Adam, have you ever been big in the face-off circle?
Oh yeah, yeah, because I play forward with my team, and I'm usually lately I've been playing center. But yeah, so a little bit of a caveat to that is once the players get into the face-off circle and up to the dot, whoever the offensive team is has to have their stick on the ice first, because
Right.
it technically gives the advantage to the defensive team to put their stick down second, so they can kind of try to work around or work through the other player. It gives them that opportunity, and if you're not quick enough on that, or if you try to anticipate the referee and get your feet in or your stick into a better position to pull the puck away, that's usually what gets the player kicked out of the face-off dot, and then they have to switch with another person.
Right. And then this is a part of the game that is a lot of controversy, where some people think it's highly important and other people statistically say it's not as important as people think. But I'm one of those people going, man, if we're in the defensive zone and we can win that puck back, I mean, and get it out, there's a chance that we just took away from them from scoring. And it's going to kill, especially if we're penalty killing at the time. So I think it's highly important.
Oh, it is.
That's
It's
my
a
belief.
yeah, it's a massive advantage. Because a lot of the times what will happen is the player, like the defensive zone player, will come in and they'll try to time putting their stick on the ice as the referee's getting ready to drop, because as soon as they put their stick onto the ice, they'll usually push the stick forward and then try to sweep back to win it. So they have
Right.
that momentum of the stick already going forward, where the offensive player has to have his stick on the ice waiting for him.
Right.
And it takes them an extra half second to get that reaction to try and push the stick forward and pull it back, or throw your skate around and try to block out the other player.
So there's a whole lot of caveats to go with the face-off, including all the other players, which they're supposed to be on side, which most of the time I see that some of them aren't.
Well, because if you look at the face-off dot, on the outside circle, you have two lines that come off of either side. They technically want each player to be on, like the defensive player to be on the defensive line, and then the offensive player behind the offensive line. A lot of referees, as long as one of your feet are behind your
Right.
line, they'll let you go.
That's what I've been noticing.
Yeah.
But it says they're not supposed to be offsides. But I think that's one of those caveats. And I think this is where people start getting, especially people that are very technical about every little detail, they get upset because they're not calling it like they think they should, because they're not following the exact rule. But then again, all three of us have officiated sports. All of us have been not liked by coaches, fans, and players at times, because they think we're not being fair. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
There's never-ending stories.
I mean,
with the three of us.
Yeah, we've told a few of the stories on the podcast. We have our way of getting back at those people.
Mm-hmm. We don't get back at the teams. What are you talking about?
We get even. No, we got even with that coach. I'm talking about Doug.
Oh,
that had nothing to do with the game. We got him after the game.
That was so funny.
Yeah,
well, for the baseball fans that know the whole George Brett incident when they took away his home run, like I always had people come in and ask me like, well, how do you deal with a coach like that? I go, as soon as I see them running, I tune them out. I was like, I don't care what their argument is, because I know they're going to get in my face and start yelling. And I go, once they stop yelling at me, and I'll just look at them and be like, are you done? And they're like, that's it. But 9 times out of 10, you had that player come running in all crazy at you and start yelling at you. I had no idea what they said.
Well, yeah. I mean, being an umpire for a lot of years, I've had many times where
My wife was going into the kitchen. Sorry.
You're good.
No problem.
It's a good thing it's an audio podcast.
Yeah, nobody else saw that.
Yeah.
I can recall a high school game where the player missed the bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. This is Trabuco Hills, or no, not Trabuco Canyon and Paloma, both tied for first place. And I call them safe, and that the bases were they walked the bases loaded to get to this point, and the shortstop stepped way behind the bag, and then just never stepped on it. And then when he did, the runner was already there, and I called him safe. And that coach came at me and I'm just standing there, had my hands behind my back. I'm listening. He was like 2 inches from my face, yelling at me. He never said a cuss word. He kept telling me, you cost the guy's game. And all of a sudden he ran out of steam because I didn't say anything. Because you're absolutely right. You got to give them a say. They felt like they got jobbed. Let them have their say. And I go, you done? And he goes, all right, thanks. And I turn around. And then one of the other coaches started yelling, and he started coming at me again. And I turned around and I go, you've been warned. Continue, you will be removed from the game. Which he knew that means that game and the next game. And he turned around and shut up, walked away. I had him the next week, same team.
Yeah, I've always learned that was the best argument an umpire could have is just not to say anything, because all of a sudden they would lose steam and they're like, cool, are you done? Like, because that's it. Like, we're not going to have this argument. We're not going to, have a discussion because you didn't want to have a discussion to start it with.
Well, there's a few caveats to all that. Once they start cussing at you, they're done.
Oh, yeah.
If they touch you, they're done.
Yeah.
So.
Or get personal.
I was always a helmet guy, not a mask guy. So if I was behind the plate, they wanted to take a swing at me, they would have been hurting really bad. Never had to do that. But I was on the bases that game, so I had no weapon.
Adam, were you a face mask or a catcher mask?
No, I had the face mask. In baseball terms, I had the 2-piece mask.
The 2-piece, okay.
I couldn't do the hockey style mask.
Oh man, I love the hockey style mask.
Well, I started doing that in Little League because
he had my helmet.
Well, no. I sit there and had one on, and we had other games. And kids playing on the sideline. I got hit in my ear 2 times, 2 different games. And the second time was by a foul ball from a practice very far away. My ear's bleeding. His gear was in my car. I ran and got that helmet on, and I never stopped wearing it. So there's if anybody wants to know why I used to wear the bucket, that's why I wore a bucket.
As a catcher, I just always wore the bucket, so that's what I was just the most comfortable with. So when I became an umpire, that's what I went with.
See, I grew up in a different era as a catcher, and we had the 2-piece combo, which is why I just went with the face mask.
Well, I don't think in Little League we were allowed to have the 2-piece when I was growing up.
Well, when I was growing up, we had that full helmet with the 2-piece that connected to it.
No, yeah. Nobody in Little League when you played was allowed to wear the 2-piece.
Yeah,
I was comfortable with it.
Yeah, we had that when I was growing up. We had that full helmet, looked like a batter's helmet with the brim cut off.
Yeah,
and then we pulled the 2-piece over it. That's what I had growing up, and I just stuck with it ever since.
Well, because I believe in high school they're not allowed to wear the 2-piece either, right?
No, not anymore.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Even if they're 18, they still have to wear the bucket.
Yeah, I've had guys come out with that, and I go, "Hey, coach, you can't do that." Well, he's been using it. Not in this game, he can't. It's against the rules.
Like I would tell the catcher, you want to wear that? You can wear it for warm-ups, but as soon as this inning starts, you're putting on the bucket.
I can't wear it in warm-up either in high school.
Oh,
just depends on who's watching.
Well, no. when you walk to that field and they're warming somebody up, you're now in control.
All right. Well,
I had an AD come to me one time. He goes, "Hey, I don't see a problem with it." I go, "The minute I walked on this field, my power usurped yours. You can go sit down and be quiet and make sure nobody acts up. This is my field. I'm in control. CIF says I'm in control.
Yep.
I wasn't a big fan of ADs.
Well,
as long as they paid me, I didn't care.
One guy kept arguing with me. I go, just think of it. I'm God and you're not. He turned around and walked away.
All right,
Okay,
let's get back to hockey.
Yeah, I was going to say we can continue with umpire stories all day.
The techniques for face-off, because you use your stick, your skate, your body. Once that puck drops, you can just like push in and kick the puck in front of you. But he talked about the swoop going back. You can going one side or the other. Just depends on what hand you are. You scoop it, especially if you're trying to get it to a defender and you're like on a power play, or even if you're not on the power play, you can go to either one of your defensemen in spots. And how many times have we seen that off a face-off and they slam one, somebody tips it and it goes in?
Oh, yeah.
Now, icing. You want to go on that one, Cody?
Icing?
Should I try to give a little bit better explanation than last week's episode?
Yeah, go for it.
On what?
The icing description Cody was trying to explain.
Well, that was what I read, all right?
The easy way to explain it is if you're behind the center line in your defensive zone and then you basically shoot it all the way to the other wall and no one touches it, then they ice the puck and it goes back into the zone that it came from.
So some part of the puck stick has to be past that.
No, not the puck. The puck is not equipped. It has to be your stick that crosses the center ice line.
Well, if the stick crosses it and it's hitting the puck.
Yeah.
Well, they say that's the rule, but you can see all the time where they let go of the puck well behind the line, but on their follow through, it passes the line and they count that.
There is a gray area there. We'll all agree.
A lot of referees that I know will give you about a 3-foot grace period. So if you're within 3 feet of the red line and then dump it in, they usually don't say anything. But that's a lot of the referees I've dealt with is they usually give you about a 3-foot grace period behind the red line when you shoot it.
Yeah, see, gray area in every sport. And if you're a black and white person, you're not going to like it.
Oh, no.
So, but, if we don't have gray areas and we're black and white, we see how imperfect everybody is and can't exclude anybody there. Players, coaches, everything. So, anyways, so do you want to go on to the next one, Cody?
I don't even know what we're on.
I was on Hockey 101.
Are you on a different thing than me?
I don't know.
I thought we were going into penalties.
Well, it's part of the rules and part of penalties.
I know, but I don't know what website you're on or anything, so you got to clue me in on this.
The Hockey Writers one.
The Hockey Writers one? Okay. Let me get on that. All right, you just keep going and I'll find it.
Offsides? We got to explain offsides because that is an infraction. It's not. You don't go into the box for being offsides. We have a hockey player that can explain offsides.
Oh, that one's such a gray area, especially with the new ruling. It's confusing unless you actually know the game.
Because it was before your foot had to be at least on the blue line but on the ice. Now it could be in the air, but still on the blue line, right?
Yeah, as long as a part of your body is on the blue line, then you're good. But your foot no longer has to be on the ice for it to count.
Yeah.
Like you'll see guys nowadays, like they'll try to slow down, but then they throw that foot up in the air to try and stick it as far back as they can, just so they don't get called for the offsides. But with offsides, the reason they call it offsides is if any player without the puck crosses the blue line entirely before the puck, then it's considered offsides. It's a disadvantage to the defensive team. So that's why what they'll do is they'll stop play and then they'll do a face-off at the face-off dot near the boards right outside the blue line.
Right. Exactly. and there's delayed offsides. So there's offsides. Some like the puck comes back out. Example: Kings Doughty gets the puck, shoots it back in, but Kopitar hasn't. He's still in the zone, but it goes behind the net. If Kopitar comes back out and goes back in, then it's not offsides anymore. But it'd be delayed if he tried to go play the puck. So
yeah, because usually what'll happen is, say if the left winger is coming up the left boards and the right winger is coming up the right boards, and then he goes offsides, but the left winger shoots it in real quick, they'll usually do the delayed offsides. But say if your left winger crosses the puck or shoots the puck across the ice into the right-handed corner, a lot of the times they'll call that dead as well because your player still has that advantage of coming in early. So same thing. There's the gray areas of delayed offsides as well.
But a lot of this is where people get confused, but especially new people watching hockey. What happened? What did they do? They were offsides. Well, it's not like soccer. It's you got to be onside when the ball's kicked. It's not where the line is. It's when the ball's kicked. You can't be behind it.
Could we imagine if hockey did that?
Yeah, that would be wild. You get 4 great defensive guys and put McDavid down at the other end.
Exactly.
So, I mean, just a brief description of what offsides is. Basically, like what Adam said, a player on the attacking team must not precede the puck into the attacking zone. That's the definition. There's a lot of other little details to that, which Adam went through a little bit. But if you can remember this and you see where they blow it down and they bring it back out, somebody didn't follow that.
By the way, the attacking zone is the blue line. Let's just
blue
also
line is the attacking zone.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, they score a goal and the coach can have say we think somebody was offsides, and they'll go back to video, and if they were offsides, no goal, they go back to a face-off. But if there was none, not only did you just give up a goal, you get a delay game penalty and you're in the box. All from just the offside stuff. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Hockey Player?
No, I mean, that was pretty much all we can do about that one. Like I said, there's offsides, delayed offsides. There's so much of a gray area that unless you've actually watched the game, even that one's hard to explain and follow with.
Even the professionals, it looks like even they get confused on it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are penalties that don't cause anybody go to the box. How would I want to term this? Infractions with no penalty.
Like a stoppage of play that doesn't cause a penalty or anything. Pretty much it's like something that can cause a stoppage.
Playing the puck with a high stick.
Yeah.
They touch it with a high stick, it's going to get blown and stopped. Hand pass, where they push the puck up to another player or push it, however, to another player. Unless you're in the defense, you can do it, I think. If you're in the defensive zone, you can do it to your team, but you can't do it offensively.
Yeah, if you're in the defensive zone, you can make a hand pass. If you're in the offensive zone, you can't. Either which way in zone you are, and if you touch the puck with a high stick, which technically the ruling of a high stick is any stick that goes above the crossbar of the net, for the people that actually don't know that portion of it. So basically, a lot of the times, if your stick comes up above your shoulders or at least the logo on your chest, that's when they'll call it for the high stick.
Yeah, you'll get goals that will be possibly called back because of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, the goals, I know it can't be above the cross where it touches the stick.
Right. It can't be above the crossbar. Exactly what Adam just said.
Yeah, because if the curve of your stick is above the crossbar, but it hits like the bottom part that is below the crossbar, it's a good goal, and that's what if I remember right.
Yeah, it has to be below, or even or below the crossbar.
Yeah, the only time they will allow a high stick goal is if the puck's coming right at you and you kind of brace yourself to get hit with the puck and then it glances off your stick and say your stick's above. If you're holding the stick normally, but when you brace, you bring it up to your chest and say it hits right underneath your hand and then goes in the net, they'll usually allow that just because it was an unintentional high stick.
Yeah.
Other penalties, incidental goalie interference is one.
Puck out of play.
Yeah. Cody's favorite one, incidental goalie interference.
Well, puck out of play, if a defensive player shoots the puck out of play while in the defensive zone, then you will get a delay of game penalty for that.
Yeah.
And you will have
to. We're talking about times where it's not a penalty.
Well,
so like on a shot, like the goalie makes a save and it goes completely out, or a deflection.
Dislodged net, distinct kicking motion.
Yeah.
All,
Vetrano knows the dislodged one.
Which is another really big gray area, right, Cody? I mean, we've talked about that one a few times on this one because you were not happy.
Yeah.
I just want it consistently called. That's all I ask.
I understand that. Unfortunately, we probably never get.
I think the writing of the rule is so vague is why we don't get consistent calls.
Yeah, that's what Jake said on Crash the Pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep trying to fix problems, but it's very, you end up getting lawyers doing it and nobody can understand what the hell they said.
Right.
I mean, they rewrite Major League Baseball's pretty incredibly. I used to know all the rules and then they changed all the numbers to them. Threw me off. So,
well, at least Major League Baseball actually had umpires writing the rule book. That's why it was able to follow along with it easier.
You should have a committee of the referee association and the players association and get a committee and try to get some of this rewritten so it's easier to understand.
Yeah.
Make it easy for the fan to understand. But what's the most fun penalty, Cody? What would Christina say is the most fun penalty? Let's talk about that penalty.
My wife's.
We could have had her on.
Fighting? Is it fighting?
We would have a beep thing for every third word.
Let's just say the first time I took her to a Ducks game and there was a fight, you can hear her across the arena telling them, "Yeah," and this is a family-friendly one, so yeah, fudge him up, yeah, beat him up, yeah, f, just. And I was just like, I gotta marry this woman.
That sounds like me on the ice.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny is we went down to watch the Gulls. Was it the Gulls in the rain plane?
Yeah.
Down there? Man, it was a zoo down there too. But I mean, the referees, man, they wouldn't let them even hardly touch each other.
Oh, Christina was so mad that game.
Let them fight. So a lot of people want to understand, why do they allow fighting in hockey? And I can remember this from a long time ago. When Wayne Gretzky was playing, he always had somebody there to protect him. So somebody kind of cheap-shotted Wayne Gretzky. They got Marty McSorley in their grill, and they would just pound him. The thing is what I heard at that time is that if you didn't have fighting, you would have had a lot more like cross checks. I mean, not cross checks, baseball swing at people's heads and stuff like that, because the fighting stopped the more dangerous stuff from happening. It was a way to get the aggression out and say, hey, you can't do this to our guy. A lot of people think it's cruel and it should never be in the sport. But unfortunately, it's such a physical game. You got to let something happen, right? You got to get let them throw punches. And if you ever watch them, sometimes it's like they're missing, they're hitting padding, they're hitting the helmet with their bare hand.
Or the visor. Mm-hmm. The visor can cut them.
It's there for a reason. So, there's two types of fighting. The first one they start and they stop you pretty quick and you'll get a 2-minute roughing. Otherwise, you're both going to get 5 minutes for fighting. Am I right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
I had a high school coach that actually explained it to me probably in the most perfect way.
Let's hear
Uh,
it.
he told me, he goes, fighting in the NHL is the most purest form of sports justice that's out there. It's a way that the players get to regulate the game. You don't have like the dirty players trying to cheap shot when you have an enforcer that's going to come out and take you down afterwards. Like it was one of the most like thought
That's so much more
provoking.
elegant than what I said.
Yeah, I mean, like
That
I
was
said,
very.
like
I like that, Adam. That was awesome.
yeah, I
I
mean
mean, that's pretty
it's
much what I was saying or thinking to say. But
yeah,
much
like I
better.
said, it was my old high school coach. I mean, even though it was high school at the time, it was high school roller hockey, and we couldn't fight anybody. But he told me, yeah, it's the most elegant form of sports justice out there. Like you can't go and cheap shot somebody because you want to take an advantage of them when you have someone like Stu Grimson, Marty McSorley. I mean, even nowadays, you have Rempe and Reeves. You don't want to go out there and try and take out the best player because you know the meanest player is going to come after you for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the greatest time to see that, honestly, was the 90s because you had those guys that would come in and try and, do a dirty hit or, you know, poke somebody in the ribs with their, with a stick or, try to injure the best player. And then you'd see this big old enforcer just, come stumbling out on the ice and then they learn their lesson real quick. But yeah, it's one of the purest forms of justice of on ice regulation that you can have outside of referees trying to be there to regulate the game. This way, the players are able to regulate it as well.
Yeah, yeah. I played street hockey, and we got into one fight.
Oh, here we
And
go with this story again.
but we I played with like four guys that were from Massachusetts. They all played hockey their whole lives. And the one guy, I guess some guy was cheap shotting Dennis. He was our best player. I always call him Ted because he reminds me of Ted the teddy bear. Back in the day, party guy, hey, yeah, let's go get drunk.
He even kind of talks like Ted a little bit too. Yeah.
Well, he has that kind of an accent. But somebody I think was hitting him, so he wasn't even in the rink. He hopped over, punched a guy, hopped back over, and then the fight started. And they had this 6'2". Like I was probably
5'2".
30. I think Cody was, maybe my wife's pregnant with Cody when that happened, or maybe it was right after Cody was born. He was like 6'2", 225, and I was 5'10". Maybe I was probably $180, and I mean, and he was in like awesome shape. And what does he do? We're in the corner. He throws down his stick. He throws down his gloves, and I just looked at him, and I looked at him when I pointed my stick at him, and I go, "I'm going to carve you up like a Thanksgiving turkey." And he ran away from me because I guess I looked serious enough. And I never had to worry about anybody punching me again because that one little thing, I didn't even have to hit anybody. They didn't want to mess me because they thought I was nuts. I'd do anything to hurt them. But that was the only fight we ever got in. But man, there was guys fighting all over the rink. I did not get a penalty.
God, if I had a penny for every time I heard that story, I'd be richer than Elon Musk.
Well, somebody's watched Slapshot one too many times.
That happened in the slap show?
Oh yeah, one of the guys was notorious, or his reputation was notorious for threatening people to carve up their face with a stick.
I need to rewatch it. It's been years since I've seen it. I got to rewatch it.
I can't remember the team name, but it was at the end where they play the championship. It was the orange and white team. It was one of their guys.
Was that the Paul Newman one?
Yeah, the 77.
Yeah, and
with
Bruce
with the twin guys. I don't even remember that being in there. I have to watch that again.
I gotta rewatch it. It's on Netflix now.
It was at the end in the championship game when they brought in all the thugs to fight against them.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was Bruce Boudreaux's in that movie too. He has like a little cameo, apparently.
Was he?
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said on during the Jeff Merrick show when he would have Bruce Boudreaux on there. Like I think he's like, you see him skating. It's in the very beginning.
Oh.
You see him skating behind the net. It's like real quick. If you do a Google search, you can look up Bruce Boudreaux and Slapshot. It will show you which player he was. It's just like you don't see his face or really, but he's like, yeah, that was me. Because I guess he was practicing at the time and they were shooting, and I think he was just doing a cameo thing.
Well, let's go back to the fighting. You can get an instigator penalty if you're the person that kind of pushes it to get started and you get caught. I think most of the time that doesn't get called because somebody does.
That's a very inconsistent call, though, too.
Right. But when it does, I mean, I know what you're saying. You see them; they definitely caused it.
It's usually the big dramatic throw your gloves, throw your helmet is usually when the instigation penalty comes in. Like they're making a big spectacle of like, oh, I'm gonna take this guy out and we're gonna fight. That's usually when the instigation penalties come in. Like usually when a fight just breaks out, at a hockey game, they don't pull the instigation because it was a mutual thing. But yeah, it's always that big spectacle of, gloves go flying and helmets go flying and they circle around for a couple of seconds. That's usually when the instigation comes in.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the instigator with the whole Jay Beagle Troy Terry situation. I mean, how was that? There was nothing called. That was like the biggest instigator of all time that was never called.
He should have been suspended.
Oh my God.
For player safety too.
Speaking of that, that's the further discipline that can happen in fighting penalties. You get multi-aggressor and instigator penalties, and it can lead to they'll miss some games.
Usually get a 10-minute misconduct where they kick you out of the game too.
Yeah.
Well, we had 6 of those called against the Kings last year, and Kopitar was one of the 10.
That was shocking to hear that.
Yeah. So you have fighting, another penalty. So, boarding and charging. You don't hear much about charging. It's always boarding.
Charging is more like boarding is like, I think it's the way you hit them. Charging is, I think, what leads to the hit.
Charging usually leads to the boarding.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're together.
The easy way to kind of explain that one is like a lot of the times they'll call you like for charging. Say if you're on the left side of the ice and then you make an automatic like turn and go after someone full speed and make an open ice like dirty hit, that's usually when you'll get the charging call. The reason they don't call it with the boarding is because boarding is technically a far worse penalty, where boarding you could actually get up to 5 minutes plus the 10-minute misconduct, depending on how bad the hit is. Because the boarding, what happens if you're next to the wall in the glass and you're facing the glass and someone comes in behind you and cross-checks you or hits you, it's basically a blindside hit.
Yeah.
If they can't see it and then, you're in a bad position where you can get injured from hitting the wall, that's where the boarding comes into play. But like a charging a lot of the times is like the big open ice hits where guys come from across the ice to hit someone, and that's what the difference between the charging and the boarding call usually is. But they don't call the charging on the boarding penalties because you're usually charging in to board him, and then they just call the boarding.
Yeah. So
if they called them both, you'd be in big trouble, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So guys, when penalties are called, referees will make an announcement and they make a hand gesture, telling you what they called. For boarding, if they like have a closed fist hitting an open hand, that's boarding. For charging, it looks like an NBA referee saying traveling, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the way. Basically circling your hands.
Yeah, you're circling your hands together.
It's too many steps, Cody. That's the name of the rule. It's not traveling. It's
2-minute penalty. Anze Kopitar for traveling.
Too many steps.
All right.
Okay.
And then what do you have for the next one?
Here, cross-checking.
All right, for that hand gesture, it looks like someone's doing the Hail Hydra from the Marvel universe. or it's pretty much where you just put they're holding a stick and pushing it out. That's the referee hand gesture for cross-checking.
Yeah, so cross-checking is you basically hold your stick vertically across from you with both hands and then hit as hard as you can with the stick.
Yeah, that's definitely a no-no, guys. I know they're really cracking down on that one.
And they are cracking down on it more, but it's still one of those ones that sometimes you'll see it and they don't call it.
Yeah.
Well, I always laugh at like the part-time fans that go to hockey games where you'll see a guy come up, with his stick in the cross-check position, and they basically lean up against him and then push him away, and then you see like the part-time fans like, that's cross-checking, like that's not even close.
No, I know the difference. I've seen. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Because like otherwise, if what you were describing, almost every defenseman in their defensive zone would be getting called that right in front of the goalie. You see that's how they get the players out of the way for their goalie. Is that's what they do. They put their stick there and push them.
So the difference between calling it and not is in the severity of how it's done.
No, it's what Adam was saying is it's already.
Hit them hard.
It's kind of more of the intensity. Like if you can get more behind the stick, away from, if you have separation between you, is where the difference is. If there's, say if you have a foot of separation and then you come in really hard with your stick, that's cross-checking. Where a lot of the times Cody was saying, if you're battling in front of the net and you put your stick on the guy and then push him away, that's not cross-checking.
But see, that's how it's called.
Yeah.
You have severity; those aren't going to be called. But when it gets where it's obvious that, I think your stick and your hands go away from your body instead of it's not a push; it's a hit.
Yeah.
Because what you guys are talking about is they're pushing him away, not cross-checking him away. They're pushing him away. The stick is there, but it's there just because everybody has their stick in the hand, hopefully.
Yeah, but I mean, there's times where defensive players will kind of lean back and then cross-check someone just because they don't like the battle they're having in front of the net too.
And they get away with it a lot of times too.
Yeah,
they do. Okay, here's a fun one. Delay of game.
Wait, now, which delay? There's so many delays.
Yeah.
Yes. But if you're watching the game and you see the referee with his arm up in the air, you've got it's a delayed penalty. As soon as they touch the puck, penalty's going to get called. You'll find out what it is.
I mean, that's a delayed penalty, not a delay of game.
Yeah.
But
there's a difference.
They have their arm up.
That's a penalty.
Saying we've seen a penalty. The only time it won't be called is the other team scores a goal. There won't be the penalty won't be called.
Well, but like a delay of game is like I was saying earlier. If a defenseman throws the puck over the glass in the defensive zone with nobody touching it, that's a delay of game.
And and that's just the referee doesn't need to put up his hand. He's pretty much like, you're going to the box. Let's go.
Yeah, the most interesting delay of game that you don't really see ever, because it's usually a strategic one, is like say if the Ducks and the Kings are playing and the Ducks have a 3-on-0 against Big Save Dave. And then say he turns around and pushes the net off the net net moorings. It's a delay of game penalty, but that actually, instead of getting the infraction and getting the penalty, it turns into a penalty shot.
As it should be.
As what Frank Vetrano did?
Well, but usually if the goalie does it, then it turns into a penalty shot. If a player does it, then it does actually result in a delay of game penalty.
No, because remember in that instance, the Devils got a penalty shot.
They called that rule wrong.
Oh, okay. So you know it better than me, so I'll go with that.
Illegally freezing the puck, right?
So that one, like illegally freezing the puck, is like a player holding his skate against the boards and holding the puck against the boards so nobody can get to it without actually trying to play it. Also, like say if a player falls down and lands on the puck and doesn't decide to move, that's also unintentionally freezing the puck. A player laying on the puck will get you an actual penalty, but if you're freezing the puck up against the boards, they usually just blow the whistle and then
face off.
Do a face off.
Well, the funny thing is they have changed that rule, because I can remember they used to blow the whistle all the time and have a face off, and they wouldn't let them go very long. Now they go, play the puck. You hear them, play the puck, play the puck. Come on, guys, play the puck. They push them to keep playing and not go back to a face off.
Yeah,
That's what teams would do.
It's kind of like baseball. Like they're trying to keep the pace of play going instead of having to constantly start and stop.
Exactly.
I think it's very rarely called that they stop. I think it has to be like there for a while for them to actually call it.
Aren't they changing the rule if the goalie does knock it off now?
Yes. I believe we talked about that, but I don't remember the exact rule at the top of my head.
Yeah. So knocking it off its moorings. There used to be different. The goalie could get away with it, and players couldn't. But now it's the same. And then what you talked about before, when they're say trying to ice the puck and it goes out without touching anything. So basically, they lift it up, it flies out of the rink. That's a delay of game.
Yeah.
And then the trapezoid, which Cody wants to get rid of. We all
hate
want to get
that
rid of the
rule.
trapezoid.
See? Thank you.
That rule.
Let the goalies play it. Let them make mistakes. It keeps the game moving. I let them play with it. Get rid of the trapezoid. I hate that rule.
I mean, look at the 90s and the early 2000s before the trapezoid came in. Like, you would have, like, Marty Brodeur. He would fly over to the corner, pick up the puck, and then shoot it back down the ice. Like, if you can get to the puck quicker instead of having to wait for it to come to you, it also moves the game along more. Like, you get Marty Brodeur that comes in, picks it up just as it crosses the red line in the corner, and then he takes a shot all the way to the opposite side of the ice to an open player, and then they had a breakaway. You can't do that now with the new trapezoid rule because you have to sit in the trapezoid, you have to wait for the puck to come to you, and then you don't get much of an opportunity of a goalie slinging it down the ice trying to pick up play. I hate that rule.
See, we should have had Adam on for our commissioner for...
No, I think we both... you brought that up, but we both agreed. I mean, we had some fun ones.
Yeah.
That's
the one I think that out of all the ones we had, I think that's the one that could come back. Really, I think is the trapezoid one.
Yeah.
So,
realistically.
Now on to high sticking the penalty.
Yeah.
So basically, you're responsible as a hockey player to have control of your stick.
No matter what.
No matter what. So if a stick comes up somehow, I don't think like on a slap shot, if the guy ducks down and as you hit the puck and then you hit him because he comes and brings his face, I don't think they would call it there. But if you come up and hit someone, usually it's when they're battling for the puck. It happens most often battling for the puck. Inadvertent stick will come in and hit the guy in the face.
It's actually been called off of like slap shots because, I mean, yes, you still have to have control of your stick even through the slap shot, but a lot of the times you'll see like the younger referees will call that one. But it's been called. Like I've seen a couple of guys take a slap shot, hit somebody in the face, and then they get called for high sticking.
I gave a guy 11 stitches. It was on a slap shot, and he went down right in front, tried to dive right in front of me as I hit it, and I think I actually still scored, and then I cut him, and nobody liked him, so everybody was. I was getting high fives more for that than scoring a goal, but they didn't call a penalty on me on that. And we would get high sticking if we just called for the puck. You couldn't even put your puck above your head or the stick above your head.
For any reason. You can't put the puck above your head?
The stick above your head. Oh, shut up. And there's two different penalties. You have a 2-minute minor where no cut, no blood. And then it might get a double minor. I have not seen him call a major on that
anymore. No, it's always because they got rid of
the major if they were bleeding.
Yeah, they got rid of that and they turned it into a double minor.
I think it depends on how you use the stick on the high stick. I mean, if you're like like Truba.
I mean, if you swing it at somebody's face, then obviously that's a major penalty because there's an injury behind it as well. But they essentially stopped calling the 5-minute majors for the high sticking and gave them the double minor. But the only difference in the ruling is just blood. Because, I mean, you can get scrapes and cuts and somehow it doesn't bleed, but then it just is a 2-minute minor. But if there's actual visible blood, that's where the 4-minute or the double minor comes in and they get the 4-minute power play.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's high sticking. You'll see that often enough. Now we have holding and holding the stick.
That doesn't get called enough.
Oh, I bet.
No.
I had a guy actually grab my stick, pull it out of my hand, and the referee is like, "No, it's legal." Excuse me?
I know Corey Perry is definitely one of the most.
Oh, yeah.
Love him on your team, hate when you play against him.
Oh, I hated it.
I've actually seen him take away their stick.
Uh-huh.
Not just hold it. He took it away from them and then took it away and took it to the bench with him.
Well, the funny one they called was Zegras. Remember when Zegras pulled it he pulled the stick away from the guy and then took off down the ice and scored the goal.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I thought it was my stick."
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Way to sell it, Z. I'm sorry, but you ain't gonna. I think everyone knew, like, yeah, you're getting away with that one. I love you, Zegras, but nah, you ain't getting away with that.
That was by far the funniest one I've ever seen.
Please don't go to acting. Please don't.
You'll see the regular holding call more than you'll see holding the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
because it's actually going on all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like holding in football.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you watch them, they're always holding each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if are they holding them legally or illegally. And
the best way to tell if someone's holding is, if a hand comes off the stick and reaches around, it's more than likely it's going to be a hold.
Yeah. Well, because even with the holding of the stick, like a lot of the rule basically states if the player grabs the other stick is where the holding of the stick comes into play, but they kind of need to expand that one a little bit because you'll see times that guys will get tangled up and then all of a sudden you'll see the guy basically clinching his arm, holding on to the other player's stick. That's technically still holding the stick.
Yeah, they don't.
I've seen that.
Don't call that one enough. I see that many times not being called.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually when they'll grab the player's stick and kind of turn to try to make it like a hook. They try to make it into a hooking penalty.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen that one.
At least they haven't gotten as bad as the soccer players that grab the other guy's hand, hit him in the face, and fall down.
I love that video. And it's funny because the guy that tried to get away, he's the one that got carded for that one. The referee saw that whole thing. I love that video.
And that's exactly why soccer will never be as big as any other sport in America until they stop doing all that falling down and acting hurt all the time.
Well, the funny one is when they're running down the field and then someone gets close and then they just fall. Where's the card? Where's the trip? You fell on your own.
Bro, there was nobody within 5 yards of you. Why are you grabbing your knee?
I just find it funny that they do that. Now, this is a real fun one. Ladies, this isn't what you think.
Or men.
That one's easy. Basically, you'll take the toe of your stick, the curved part, wrap it around the front of a player, and then you just pull back like a hook.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious a lot of times in hockey if you're really watching.
For all those people around my age, those cartoons where someone's on the stage and someone on the side of the stage grabs that stick and just gets them and just pulls them back. That's pretty much hooking.
It's the whole Looney Tunes.
Yeah, the whole Looney Tunes.
Get them off the stick.
Yeah.
That was back in my day.
Well, they have them.
That was multiple generations.
Yeah, there you go.
So, ladies, that had nothing to do with you. Please don't get
or
mad.
Men.
Hey,
don't get happy when we say hooking either.
Yeah. And here's another one that's fun. And this is probably the one that you have the biggest problem with, Cody, the second part of it. Interference and goalie interference. Because, man, you talk about what gets let go and sometimes what gets called.
Oh, I have so many issues with that penalty.
Well, the game moves fast. Not making excuses for the officials, but the game does move fast. but sometimes I don't know how you guys miss some of this stuff. I mean, literally, interference.
Well, like the easy way to kind of explain that one is, say if you're coming into the zone with the puck on the offensive zone, and then the defender comes in to come after you. If that offensive player passes the puck to one of his teammates, that defensive player usually like tries to tie him up and bump into him and knock him off the path to get him to avert him from going to the net. Like that never gets called, but that is clear cut interference. Like I don't understand. Like that's letter of the law interference, but you don't want to call it.
Or the ones like I noticed a lot of like sometimes like right before icing, some of the defensive guys will get right in front of the offensive players and kind of cut them off, so that way they still beat them to the.
Yeah,
I've seen that one a lot too.
Yeah, that's another one that doesn't get called.
My understanding is, especially when they have that player that say passes the puck and then he's looking to go, they still have like a 2-stride, I think. That defender has 2 strides, he better hit him, because if he hits him after that, it should be interference. From what I can't say I heard that from an NHL referee, but I've heard enough games and enough people that, pros that played say, no, that's legal as long as he does it with pretty quick. You got to do it pretty quick after they let go, because that's what you're trying to, you're basically forechecking them out of the play.
Yeah.
The defense is forechecking that player not to get involved in the play.
Yeah.
So, and if it's like 4 or 5 strides, it should be called, but it doesn't always get called, like you said, Adam. It doesn't get called all the time.
Yeah, because the other one too is like the checking into the boards. Like if a guy dumps it into the zone, and then the defensive player clearly like just gets in front of him, but then he kind of like throws a little bit of a check, like that's still interference. Like that never gets called either. But it's because they end up throwing the check at the end of it to make it look like, oh, I came in to hit him real quick, but what you're really doing is you're disrupting the play, which is letter of the law, clear-cut interference. But
I know a big one that hasn't been called a lot, and usually this happens a lot when teams are playing man-to-man defense, is the pick and roll one.
Yeah.
And because the Ducks went to and I noticed it a lot this year, and teams were getting away with, like, I think Austin Matthews got away with one against the Ducks. He clearly took away one of our defensive, and then he literally scored the game-winning goal. It happened earlier this year. I can't remember which game it was, but I remember it was against the Maple Leafs.
Here's a pretty good definition. It's all about possession for interference. The player who last had the puck, if no one has it, or the player in control of the puck, is the key to interference. He is the only player that can be hit or run into. Any other contact between the 9 skaters or 2 goalies not in possession is considered interference.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be hitting the goalies even if they do have the puck.
Well, but you had Patrick Roy and Broehl, they would check guys behind the net all the time.
I'm saying if the goalies have the puck, I mean, we're talking about Patrick Roy and Broehl were different species of goalies.
Well, yeah, but I mean that kind of goes in with interference, goaltender interference. Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're going to go behind your net and play, and especially like you'll see a lot of goalies nowadays that'll throw their body into a player to give their player that advantage to get away, where they're interfering with the other player to stop them from getting to the puck, and I just think that should be called as well. But I mean, if the goalie's going to be out there playing and he's going to throw his body out there, I think he's fair game.
Well, here's where I think the interference call should be called. And it does reference basketball, the pick and roll.
I just said that already.
Yeah, the pick and roll. It's not legal in the NHL. You can't pick anybody, but you see them do it all the time.
Oh, yeah. Especially like on the offensive zone. It happens all the time, but it never gets called.
It happens so much. I this like some of them I can be like, okay, I can see why they get away with that, but there's some of them where they completely take out the defensive play, and it's like it's just open space for the offensive player. I'm like, how is that not interference?
Yeah.
He completely took out someone that didn't have possession of the puck.
Yeah, like I said, I have so many issues with that one.
Oh, I bet
it's part of that imperfect thing we have in life. It's done in hockey too, but the goalie interference is probably the one that drives everybody the most crazy.
Well, because usually it always leads to a goal. If there's a goal or no goal, it's usually like a big part of the game.
Well, like the ones that really annoy me on that one is like, say if the goalie tries to get better positioning and he comes out to like the top of the crease, but he runs into a player and then a goal is scored, then it's goaltender interference. Like the goalie caused it. It shouldn't be goaltender interference if the goalie.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
like
I agree.
if there's clear cut evidence of a player stopping a goalie from doing his normal goalie duties in the crease to make a play, then I think that's where the goaltender interference is. But it's such a gray area. Like I said, like if a goalie's on the right side of the net on the right post and then he shoots to like the top left of the crease and then he hits a player and the puck goes in, goaltender interference. Well, the goalie caused it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is one that a lot of people really struggle with, and it's part of the frustration of hockey is goalie interference.
But like the one part of goalie interference that I do like that they started implementing, I think it was actually after the COVID season. I think it was 21 they implemented it. Like say if a defensive player throws an offensive player into the crease and into the goalie,
Yeah.
then then the other team gets called for the penalty of or
it's like interference, isn't it?
yeah, like the goal gets disallowed because the offensive player threw the defenseman in there trying to make it look like an accident when it wasn't.
Yeah.
So
or even
before that wasn't a problem.
Yeah, I mean it was a problem, but I think the COVID season proved how much of a problem it was, and they needed to rewrite the rule. Yeah,
I think they just rewrote it more.
Yeah,
because dang, why wouldn't you do that every time if they wouldn't call it?
I mean, isn't that what Sam Bennett did on the Panthers in the playoffs? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but that's goalie interference, in my opinion.
Or even because the other portion of that too is like the defensive player throws the offensive player into the goalie trying to get the goaltender interference. But
yeah, and I mean, but in a simple replay is like, no, that's a goal. I mean, you shoved him, or the player, gets pushed, like forced into the goalie and stuff like the offensive player gets forced in by the defensive guy.
But yeah, I want to say that was rewritten in 21, I think, because like I said, the COVID season put so much of a focus on the game itself that people were able to see more of what was actually going on.
So some benefit from COVID, huh?
Yeah, one of them.
Okay. Is that everything we got on goalie interference? How about roughing?
Roughing. Yeah.
Roughing is basically not a fight.
And that's really the only time it's called.
And maybe wrestling a little bit. It's obviously on the whatever the referee deems. And I think sometimes a small fight is called roughing.
Well, I mean, if you look at it nowadays, a lot of the times the roughing penalties are called are for as I like to say, the hockey hugs that happen after the whistle. That's a lot of the times when the roughing comes in, because you don't have a whole lot of, I mean, you have roughing going on at all times because it's hockey and it's such a high intense sport. But an actual roughing penalty is, if they, grab each other and hug and are getting ready to fight, but the referees won't let them, or the little scrum after the whistle blows. That's a lot of the times when roughing is called, because same thing, roughing is kind of a vague rule of when the puck is in play. How do you really call that?
Yeah, well, doesn't it typically happen when there's that loose puck in front of the net and everybody's fighting for it?
That too, yeah. That's
see a lot of roughing going on there. Sometimes it's not even called.
Yeah.
If it gets if it goes too far, the referee will put two of them in the box. It's usually always fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually when you see the cross checks coming from the defensive player, and the splashing coming from the offensive player. That's when they'll call. That's the times they'll call in play penalties for roughing. But other than that, it usually comes in the scrum after the play.
Yeah.
Now we can. That's pretty good. I like that so far. Throwing the stick, guys. What do you think about throwing the stick?
This one doesn't really get called that often. I think the last one was called.
It doesn't happen that often, though.
I think the last one to get called for was Zegras after he scored the game winner and threw it into the stands.
which was stupid.
Yeah, because Jack Hughes literally did it 2 weeks before that and didn't get nothing.
Yeah, like that's a stupid reason to call it, but a lot of it, the easy way to reference this one is almost like baseball. Like when a player like lays down a bunt and then throws the bat in play to try to disrupt the catcher ball. Like if a hockey player throws his stick at a player that like got past him to knock the puck away, that's the throwing the stick penalty. But yeah, that one they called on Zegras was
stupid.
A lot of BS since this is a family show.
Appreciate that.
The throwing the stick counts with goalies too.
Oh yeah. Like that's the big one you see called is after like a goal goes in and a goalie gets mad and he throws his stick across the ice. That's the big one it's called.
Did you know it's also a penalty for when a goalie comes off the ice to get the extra man? He has to take his stick with him.
Yep. Because what was it? Was it in the 70s?
Yeah, I know.
There was a goalie that would leave his stick on.
Well,
it wasn't. It was Patrick Hockey.
Well, there was another coach. There was a coach. Jeff Merrick used to talk about this coach. He said the reason why there's so many rules is just because of this coach alone. He told his goalie, "Hey, when you come off the ice, leave your stick along the goal line, so that way, if they shoot for the empty net, it hits the stick and it doesn't go in the net."
Yep. Yeah, I remember hearing about that one. I thought that was hilarious. And
I was like, "Oh, that's so clever."
I mean, the things you try to.
You're just mad because you didn't think of it.
Yeah, it's the things you try to get away with.
It was already thought of before I was even born. So,
funny. This next rule, women don't have a problem with. That's when it's too many men.
Oh God, the Ducks have this problem. Jesus. Oh my God, it was like every game it was almost getting called in the Ducks. I'm like, do you guys not know how to count to frickin' 5?
Well, the funny thing is a lot of times there's 7 guys, but that puck comes to them, they got to get off the ice.
Well, but there was times the Ducks got called for it because they decided they wanted to put 6 guys on the ice.
Well, I mean, we needed all the help we can get, but still.
True.
Well, but I'm like, come on, guys! Like, you should know. I remember one of them was like, literally, like Vetrano's one skate was still on the ice, and they called it. I'm like, really? Just because that one little.
I thought they had to be with close to a play. And their replacement's already on the ice, and then they're close to a play, and maybe.
Well, the one Cody is referencing is the puck actually came underneath Vetrano's skate as he was pulling it off the ice. That's when they nailed us for the too many men, which that one's understandable. It's a bit of a gray area, but there were too many times that the Ducks just decided they wanted
all the other ones, I was like, yeah, that's too many men. Yeah, that was the only one I think out of all the ones that they did get called. I think they got called like 13, 14 times or more. I know they led the league in the most too many men. Of course, they led the league in probably every penalty ever called this last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, because like if you notice a lot of times, like say if a defensive player picks up the puck and then the other team is trying to make a change, you'll see a lot of the times the defenseman will throw the puck at that bench hoping to hit somebody.
Yeah, I know that's very frowned upon in the pros, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I can see that more in like beer league and stuff like that. I can see that a lot more.
Well, it happens a lot in the pros, though.
Yeah,
it's frowned upon, but yeah, I mean, it's if you can hit a player with a puck that's trying to come off the ice, then they have to call. Have to call too many men because you're still technically on the wrong side of the boards. Like with even it's a little bit of a sidetrack on that one, but say if a player's coming off of the ice on a line change and he jumps off of the ice in the neutral zone, if a player jumps onto the ice in the offensive zone, they still get called for offsides.
Yeah,
because technically the player had that disadvantage, but. And a gray area with that one is technically if your feet haven't touched the ice, then you're not offsides.
Yeah, they're not allowed to sit on the boards anymore either.
Yeah.
So that's going to help probably curb some of that. So.
The Ducks will still find a way to have that.
Well, the funny thing is Ontario was notorious for that last year.
The too many men?
No, like people just sitting on the boards waiting to get over. And like,
Yeah,
I mean, even our former captain TJ Tynan, like he would just sit on the boards, and like three different line changes would go right past him.
really?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Tynan was bad. He just sat on the boards and just watched the game. Like, dude, sit down.
You would think that would make it harder for some of the line changes if he's just staying there.
It depends, like where you're actually sitting. Like,
True.
as long as you're like not on top of the door, like right in the middle where people come in and out of. Because a lot of the times it's usually the middle where the line change happens. Over the boards or at the doors.
Door. Yeah. All right.
But usually the doors are only used when people are coming off of the ice.
True.
So this next penalty has nothing to do with psychotics or drugs or anything.
I think the term is psychedelics.
Psychedelics, yeah, whatever. I don't do any of that stuff anyway, so
I don't, but I still know.
Tripping. It's actually tripping, not tripping out. It's tripping, and that can happen multiple ways: with your foot, with your stick, with your legs.
But a lot of the times, like the tripping with the skates doesn't get called as much as it should be, but it's usually, I would say, a 99.9% call rate if it's with the stick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they take their skates out from you see that, and it's just obvious.
Or if you're Matthew Tkachuk, is your whole body tripping the guy. I'm sorry, but I don't consider that trip. I understand why they called it, but I was like, man, he had nowhere to go.
If you lose control and end up sliding across the ice, I don't think that should be a tripping penalty.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to Tkachuk. I think he just blew a wheel, and he literally didn't purposely go toward. He literally just curled into a ball and stuff like that, trying not to interfere with anyone. And he ended up tripping one guy, and I was like, okay, I wouldn't really consider that tripping.
Yeah. I mean, it technically is because you tripped the guy, but I don't. Yeah. I think the level of intent should be behind that ruling as well.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it's usually when you get your stick into some guy's skate or in between the legs. That's usually where, and I just know they're always told if you feel the stick between your legs, start skating, and they'll get called for tripping.
Yeah.
Well, the last one, we probably all had people like this: unsportsmanlike conduct.
I'm guilty. I got kicked out of a tournament in Vegas for that.
And there's variables to that one.
Yeah.
Typically, you said the wrong thing.
Usually it's the chirping on the ice that gets you that one.
Yeah.
Well, not even really the chirping on the ice, it's the chirping of the referee.
Yeah. I would say that's 99% of the unsportsmanlike.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's like a dirty play, then you can get it for that. But usually when the unsportsmanlike conduct comes in, that's also when you get the 10-minute penalty that goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10-minute misconduct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm? Or possibly the game misconduct, depending on how bad you've been.
Yeah.
True. Like I said, I'm guilty of that one a couple times.
I never got more than 2 minutes for anything, and it was always high sticking because I'd always, hey, I'm open, and they call that. I know they don't call that in real hockey, but they didn't want anybody to get hit with a stick.
Well, me being that former umpire, I like to read the rule book so I can mess with the gray areas. And
duh.
When I start messing with the gray areas and get a bad penalty called to me, that's when I get kicked out.
On your way to the penalty box, like, man, just read rule 901C. You'll understand later. You'll see.
Oh no, see, I make the fun comments of like, well, what's your definition of the rule? And then they'll give me the definition. I go, well, isn't this the definition? They're like, yeah. I go, then how did you actually become a referee? Because you don't know the game. And then see ya.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it 901C anymore?
That's baseball. Is that what I said? Did I say 901?
901C was
I remember
basically I can call it because it's not in the rule book.
What was it? Anything not covered in the rule book, the umpire has the discretionary ability to make the call.
It's been too long. I don't care.
Or
about
as
that
we like
anymore.
to call it, the God
They
rule.
rewrote the rule book. I don't know if it's still 901C, but I haven't umpired.
Didn't it used to be 801?
No, it was 801. Then it went to 901. Now I think it's 903.
Sure. I don't care. I don't umpire anymore.
The rule book in a while.
I don't care about it.
Is there any other rules you think we haven't hit, guys? Or let's talk about Patriot Hockey. What do you think?
I think we're all good on the rules. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah,
You're the hockey player.
I can't think of any other rules.
Let's tell our fans about Patriot Hockey a little bit, Adam.
Well, Patriot Hockey, it's a 501c3 charity organization. We're there to help veterans through the sport of ice hockey. We have active duty military that play with us. We have veterans. We currently have 4 teams in San Diego where the organization was created. We have my team out of LA. We have 2 teams in Colorado. We have a team in Minnesota, and we're getting a team together in Iowa or Idaho. I can never remember which I state it is.
Yes.
But yeah. But yeah, we're a charity organization, basically helping active duty and military through the sport of hockey. We give that camaraderie of service in the locker room. Like we're there for that, hour a week or 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week for, veterans to forget about life and, focus on something else and basically just kind of have a little therapy session, whether they know they're having it or not.
Nothing like a good therapy session, just beating the crap out of someone on the other team, right?
No, it's not even so much.
I know. I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's the
Adam,
joking.
I need a new co-host. Therapy is that they can get out and do something physical, have fun and camaraderie with their fellow military.
Yeah, because a lot of the times, like, when an active duty military member gets out of the military, a lot of the times they go home because they're usually stationed in a place that they haven't, established a life in or been at very long. So they go home. And then when you go home, you don't have the same camaraderie that you had with, serving with the same people day in and day out for years on end. So that's what Patriots Hockey, came together for. It's like, we came together to give those people that camaraderie off the ice as well.
Yeah,
the whole locker room and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
You guys have played it on Ontario, right? You've played like before a rain game at times, right?
Yeah, we've played multiple charity games before. We've done a lot before the games. We've actually had a couple after the games. Those usually aren't fun because it's 10 o'clock at night and everybody at the rink wants to go home. But yeah, we've done multiple charity games in Ontario at the now Toyota Arena. We've done charity games at Staples Center because I will never not call it the Staples Center.
Amen.
And I've gone down to San Diego and done charity games at Pechanga Arena where the Goals play too. It's not set up for one region to do charity games in that region. Like we're one big organization, we're one big family where we will bounce around and play. Like I've done charity games in Ontario. I've done the charity games at Staples Center. I've done the charity games in San Diego. So, we're versatile. We're just like the military. We adapt and overcome. If we need to bring in extra players from other areas, like earlier today, we had 2 scrimmage games against LAPD. And we had guys from San Diego area. We had, a couple of guys from my team in LA, even though I'm from the Inland Empire. And we had guys that play for the Inland Empire team that, came out and played. So we had a good even mix of, different regions today just doing a scrimmage game. And it wasn't even for charity or anything else. It was just to go out and play hockey and have fun.
So did you play goal both games today?
No. I played defense today because we had 2... The lower level game we had usually our regular goalie from LA played, and then our, as we like to call him, our higher end goalie from LA played the higher level game.
Okay.
So can anyone else come and join the team, or how can they support the Patriot Hockey?
actually joining the teams is limited to active duty military or veterans.
I figured that.
But if they want to support us, I mean, they can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. It's usually under Patriots Hockey. We're kind of all over the place. Our websites, well, the easy website, it's patshockey.com. It's just PATS hockey or .org. Sorry, we're an organization.
Yeah.
So it is patshockey.org. That's where we can be located at mostly. Like currently right now on our social media, we have a charity golf tournament that we're going to be doing at the Glen Ivy Golf Course in Corona, California, coming up on September 28th.
Right down the street from my work, I believe. I'm not that far from there.
Grab a set of
you don't want to see me golf.
Trust me, you wouldn't be the worst one out there. Like last year, one of my golfing partners, we did. It was his first time ever golfing, and now he's all about golf. So he's improved since then. But yeah, last year was the first time ever he played.
I got such a baseball swing. I'm gonna probably hit, if I hit it, it's going a mile, but I don't know where it's gonna go. I might lose it, so I'm good.
I'm the same way. I mean, even when I was working at a private country club years ago, our golf pro he would try to give me tips, and he goes, "Well, you're just a baseball player, so you grip it, rip it."
That's exactly what I do.
I've only played once in like the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, because the other one we have coming up is August 31st. We're actually doing a cornhole tournament.
Oh, that's something I'd rather do than golf.
Yeah, I mean, I did it last year. It was the first time we did it. It was a lot of fun. We just went out there and messed around. But yeah, that's coming up August 31st. So if anyone wants to check that out, it's on our socials and our website. They can go and sign up. The other thing we're pushing too is we're trying to push T signs for the golf course. So Gary, if you wanted to get a T sign for $100 and say, Cody's a quacker and he sucks, we'll print it up and put it out.
I don't think we want to hammer on each other.
Oh, that'd be so funny. I would laugh so hard.
I'm just saying. I mean, if you guys wanted to do dueling, T signs, we're willing to print them up and put them out.
Might be worth $100 to put up a sign about Royally Quack there.
Oh yeah, I mean, everything is because we are a 501c3 charity organization. Everything that's donated to the organization, to the golf tournament, to cornhole, like it's all tax write-off too. I mean, it's all tax deductible. We can definitely set something up. So if you guys wanted to, promote the podcast, we can get you out there.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely. You and I will talk later, Adam, and I'll get all the information. I could put everything in the show notes. That way everyone
of course.
can easily access that.
I'll get some more sponsorships for that too, maybe with some of our listeners.
Yeah,
that would be
cool. That'd be very cool.
I'd love to put out there. When I put this out on Instagram or Twitter, I can add that part of the show notes and everything like that. So I'd love to help anything to help support the veterans and everything like that.
Well, Cody's the secretary for Royally Quack, so he'll handle all that, and I'll just give him a check.
I thought he was everything for Royally Clacked, and you were just the witty commentary.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Editor, social content creator, Canva creator, music, anything
Hey, Adam,
about this.
The song he created? Have you listened to the podcast? That was pretty good, wasn't it?
I've listened to the podcast since day one.
Yeah, but that song was pretty good. I told him, I go, we got to get, maybe a country one or.
No country. It's too. No country. I'm not a country person. No, not on my podcast.
Who cares if you are?
No, I don't care. It's my podcast.
It's about your listeners, and
I know. I'll make a. All right, I'll make a country version. All right.
Yeah, I think you should.
All right.
We would love to have you back, Adam, because dang, somebody who plays hockey too is a lot more information than us two. Even though I'm kind of royal and he's just quacky.
No, it's like I told Cody. Anytime you guys want to, bring me on, I'm more than welcome.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. I think I've touched base with you a little bit on Facebook and stuff, but I haven't got to see your face since that one hockey game. I think it was a while ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
I still remember the time when Adam and I finally worked together. Because you and I are both Star Wars nerds.
Oh yeah.
We had the Stormtroopers team, and you and I were like, this is the coolest thing.
Well, I remember I kept talking a bunch of crap because I was like, well, how are the Stormtroopers going to hit the baseball?
They couldn't do anything else in the movies, could they?
I forgot who was behind the. I think
you were behind the plate.
Yeah,
behind the plate.
Yeah, and I was like, oh great, man, they're gonna have a walk fest with these guys because they couldn't hit the zone. We had a little too much fun with that.
No, I remember that. That was a fun one.
We're gonna get a complaint from the Stormtrooper coach now. He's gonna listen to the podcast and hear.
I'd be. I mean, those kids are probably in high school by now.
No, it was longer than that.
Might be college.
Yeah, they're probably college because
two of those Stormtroopers are playing in the major leagues now.
Yeah, because that was one of my first year, my second year when that finally happened. So that was.
I thought you were doing it longer than that, weren't you?
Well, I started doing USSSA in 2015.
Oh, okay.
You were 10 years after me.
So that had to be 2016, 2017 when that went down.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of those kids are probably.
I started in what, 2008?
You were 15.
Yeah, 2008. Then I think I just was starting my freshman year baseball season when I started with U-Trip. No, it was like February or something of that year.
What an experience in our first game or first day, right?
Oh my! The second game, then.
So I'm on the plate. He's on the bases. I tell him, I go, when I look up, I see nothing but the sun. I go, so if you see a ball up in the air and you think it might be an infield fly, show me where it is. So he shows me where it is, and I see it, and I catch the ball, and they were head infield in. The ball dropped 20 feet. But
the kid made a diving play and was still like 10 feet away from it.
Right. And they scored like 2 or 3 runs on it, threw the ball around, and the coach come out, well, you guys called infield fly. I go, no. He goes, well, he put his arm up. I go, he did that to show me where the ball was. And I go, and I saw it, and I didn't see infield fly. Did you hear anybody say infield fly? No.
I didn't say it, because I know I didn't say it.
You know, then the words started getting more colorful, sort of like what Christina would say. They were not fighting. And I had to throw him out of the game. Now, I threw him out of the game. He goes over to left field and kept yelling at me from over there.
Oh, it was always fun.
And that was their last game of the day. So the next day, I'm on the plate again, and who's my first game?
And so at that time,
let me finish because this.
I was going to say, at that time, the coaches were allowed to be at the game, but they couldn't coach.
So I'm working with Mike McBride. Did you ever work with Mike McBride?
I remember the name.
Yeah, he was the one who would always go, no.
Oh, yeah.
He's back into umpiring again. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Well, anyways, so I told him about the whole story, and the guy kept coaching. So he came up, called time. You know, the inning was over. I see him walk over. He calls the guy over. We both go up to him. He goes, you got 3 options. He goes, what's that? He goes, you can go to the parking lot. You can go to the director's thing, or you can go out in the parking lot. Because if you coach again, you're going to be done for the day. So he went over to the director's tent. Who Cody on his second day didn't have any games because they only needed him the first day.
We were in Huntington Beach, so we stayed out there.
Oh, okay.
So I was with Don the whole time.
Sitting there with Don, some cop dad from Huntington Police Department walked by the coach because they beat that team in the first game. Same team that we had.
Yeah.
When I kicked him out, they beat him, but they played the first round of the playoffs, 8:00 in the morning. Well, this Huntington Beach Park cop pointed his finger at him like he was going to shoot him.
Wow.
Right? Now, I didn't see any of that. Did you actually see the guy
No.
do it, Cody? But Cody was there, right? Oh my God, we had everybody we had internal affairs from the police department call me. You know,
Came to the house.
grill me over the phone about what had happened, and I explained the whole thing. I go, I was not where I could see that.
Wow.
You know, and then they asked for, he goes, well, who was your partner? I go, my son. I go, he's only 15. He's in high school. He goes, well, I need to talk to him. I go, well, you have to call him after 3:00. Or maybe like 5:00. And he finally did talk to him. And I don't even know what happened with it.
Someone came to our house too.
Because of that whole situation, I complained to Jim Orndorff, and it went up to Craig that we keep having problems with coaches that get kicked out, keep coaching when they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
They changed the rule because of that day.
So I was a curse to you, Triple SA. My second game, we had to change a rule.
They can't even be at the game.
Yeah.
At all. They can't even be in the stands. Can't be anywhere. They have to be away from the game.
Yeah, that's the ruling I came into.
Yeah, that started in 2008. That's why.
And that wasn't always done.
Yeah.
Either, because I had a problem with a guy. I tossed him out. I mean, the words coming out of his mouth. He got caught, thrown out quick, and the director at the time let him come in, and he was warming up the kids. He was motioning. I was doing a game, and every time he could catch eye contact with me, he was, and I went over and complained, and he goes, I'm the director. And it wasn't Jim, somebody else. I'm not going to name names. You umpire and let me direct. So I went above. I told Jim, I go, if you guys aren't going to back me up, then I don't want to be on the same field with him directing.
No.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, we're almost at 2 hours. We should probably close this up.
Well, but it's been fun. Adam, it's been awesome.
Yes.
It doesn't even seem like 2 hours to me. So,
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I had a feeling we were going to go long.
I had a feeling too. I was just hoping it wasn't going to go. I'm like, oh, great. Now I got to listen to 2 hours of the editing.
Well, the funny thing is come Tuesday night, Wednesday night, I'm probably going to re-listen to the podcast because I always listen.
I do too. I do too.
I listen to it while I'm editing, so that's my way of listening to it.
No, I listen to it just because I want to.
Well, that's because you don't have to edit. I do.
Well, the hard thing is, Adam, and you'll find this out if you haven't done it before, but typically you won't like to listen to yourself talk.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm like that. I don't like to re-listen to myself talk, but this is the third different podcast I've been on.
What was the other? I know you were on the one about the hockey mask one. I listened to that one. I remember
Tendy Talk.
Yeah, that one was a great one.
There's another guy, Josh O'Brien. He's a comedian, but he's also a Navy veteran. He had Patriots on and had us do
That's cool.
Yeah, I want to say his podcast was called Civilization.
Okay. I remember the Tendy Talk one, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, open invitation. Anything you ever need to come on and talk about Patriot Hockey, you're welcome to come on anytime you like.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's been fun. And not only that, but you actually play the game.
Yeah. Well, I try to play the game.
You play better than both of us combined. How about that?
Absolutely. we're huge fans.
I'm good at NHL. That's maybe about it.
So you'd be welcome if something special's coming up with Patriot Hockey and you want to bring it up to our fans. We'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, guys.
So, open invitation for you.
Like I've told Cody, anytime you guys want my insight on, the player side of the game or, just need someone to jump in and help you guys out, I'm always willing to help you guys out.
Awesome.
By the way, I finally got
to take you up on that probably
the
more
shoes
often.
finally came in.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your Instagram post on I saw yours and the Royally Clacked one.
I was like, finally.
I'm sad I wasn't able to get them. I wanted them.
Oh, it took so long.
I know.
But they're finally
I've seen so many posts like, man, I bought these like a year and a half ago and I finally got them.
I know.
Yeah, well, they're better than the ones that Lorenzo Ball's dad had, right?
Oh,
no. But, all right. Ugly shoes. Got it.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's
close it down, Cody.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you guys want to, I'll put in the show notes for the Patriots hockey. Guys, give them a follow. Support them with anything you can. Go support them. Go watch them because you guys post your game game times on there and everything, right?
We're gonna get back into that, but yeah, we usually try to post game times. But even if anyone wanted to ask, is there a team in my area? Can I go watch them? We can always give out the information that way as well.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Former veterans or any vets right now, feel free to hit up Patriots Hockey and they'll help you out. So, and then you can follow us on any of your favorite social media platforms and podcast platforms. Don't forget to follow us on Discord. And everything like that. And you guys, anything else to add, Dad?
Well, no, I say thank you, Adam, for helping us out today. We appreciate it. Fans, we appreciate you. Support Patriot Hockey. We love you, and we will talk to you next week.
Yep.
And I always finish. Go Kings, go!
All right, let's go Ducks.
Attaboy, let's go Ducks.
Go Kings, go! Quack, quack, they cheer. My father and son, their passion sincere on the ice. Their love appears through the highs and lows in the years. The legends of Gretzky, Solana's grace, passing on history in every case. Father teaching son, a legacy shared, on royally quack their stories aired. Face off in life, together they stand. Shouting go Kings, go! Quack, quack, they cheer. A father and son, their passion sincere on the ice. Their love appears through the highs and lows and the years. The legends of Gretzky, Solana's grace, passing on history in every case. Father teaching son, a legacy shared, on royally quack their stories aired. Face off in life, together they stand. Shouting go Ducks, go! Go Kings, go! A father and son, watching the show. Through wins and losses their spirits grow. On royally quack they steal the show.